There we go. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday morning. I'm super excited to have you all here with me because it is 9 o'clock and we meet here every Friday at 9 o'clock to learn and practice the skills of happiness. And I'm super excited that you are here. Thank you so much for joining me. Let's get going. Did you all know that words matter? I know it sounds super simple, but it's so true. Which ones do you use? And we're just going to get super micro about this because we talk about it all the time. It's in a lot of different of the huddles. And you know about positive affirmations, but it is super important that you all, we just keep repeating it, honestly. I'm just going to keep repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. So today we're going to go a little bit deeper into it. So studies prove that positive thinkers are happier, healthier, and more successful than everyone else. And yes, everyone else in the entire world. But you know, where this gets people is they say, well, what am I supposed to do? Just think happy thoughts all the time? Am I just supposed to make them up? Am I just going to walk around saying, I'm great, the day is great, the sun is great? No, you can't do it and not believe it, okay? That's the most important thing. So what it is it's just practice. It is just practice. And you have to practice the right way and practice with the right words. And I know that sounds complicated, but it's just like exercise or eating well. You got to practice with the right exercises and you have to practice with the right eating, okay? So let's get a little bit deeper into this. It takes a lot more than repeating feel-good platitudes to make positive thinking work in your life. It takes practice. It takes discipline, commitment, and proper understanding of what optimism really means in a world that is constantly throwing new challenges at us. Do you know that this world is completely created to keep us in a negative space? I mean, all of the marketing, all of the advertising, everything is, you'll be better if, you'll be happier if you buy this, if you do this, if you do something differently. And it is a grind, it's a challenge to rise above that and to feel stronger and feel better about yourself within this crazy world. But it's possible. That is what I'm here to tell you. And it's super exciting. So again, I'm just going to keep feeding you new ideas, new ways to practice, new ways to learn. Because one of my favorite sayings is you cannot change a situation with the same mind that got you into the situation. You can't solve a problem, a situation, a way of thinking with the same mind that got you into it, which means you need to learn something new, or you need to practice it and make those neural pathways stronger. So, okay, this is one of my favorite books. This is going to be kind of like a book review today because this is where I've gotten so many, me and millions and billions of other people have gotten so much of their great information. So Dr. Masaru Emoto, a long time ago, wrote a book called The Hidden Messages in Water. And what he wanted to do is see if the crystals in water were all different. Just like, you know, when they say a snowflake, every snowflake is different. So he wanted to do it. So he figured out that using high-speed photography, he discovered that crystals formed in frozen water revealed changes when specific. So he did this research, he found this camera, and then he realized that the different water had different crystals. And so he did more research, like polluted water and tap water and spring water all had different crystals. So then he wanted to try and take it a little bit further, and he put words on water, like a glass of water, and he had concentrated thoughts about them. So you put a glass of water, and you can go on YouTube, and there are hundreds of people who have been duplicating this now. Everybody's getting excited, duplicating this with rice or with plants. It's harder with water because you got to take the picture of the crystal, but you can do it with anything that's live and growing or has water in it, and put a word on it that either says, I love you or I hate you, and you will see that they will grow differently. And I was talking to my niece about this, and she's like, well, the words that he wrote were Japanese, you know, how come that plant understands Japanese? And what you have to understand is that this is about energy. This isn't about the word. You know, we are energy, water's energy, plants are energy, the word has energy. It doesn't matter if it is in a different language. I am happy, I am loved in Japanese, in Swahili, in French, has the same energy as it does in English. The words, I hate you, I will kill you, those have the same energy in every language. And so the energy is what is transposed onto that item. And as you know, we are made up mostly of water. So if he can put that word and change the crystals of water, well, let's see. So when he did, he took pictures of water after he'd left it with heavy metal music, and I will kill you, and you fool. And this is what the crystals looked like. I mean, that's interesting, but here's what's even more interesting. This is what they look like with positive words. Compassion, thank you, wisdom, truth. Over and over and over and over again, he duplicated this. It is unbelievable how beautiful hope and harmony are as compared with hate and kill. And again, we're made up mostly of water, so those words that you're saying in your head, your water crystals, your energy is hearing that. You are going to become what you think about. The implications of this research create a new awareness of how we can positively impact the earth and our personal health. Our personal health matters. Are you saying, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm so uncomfortable, I can't remember anything. I hate this day, I hate this job, I hate this husband, I hate this house. What are you saying? What are you saying? One of my absolute favorite books, when I was in my early 20s, I think probably maybe 19 or 20, I was given this book called The Greatest Miracle in the World. And it was written in 1975, so it's been around a long time. Tiny little book, you can read it in one day. It was the very beginning of, my dad would do it a little bit as I grew up, but this was the very beginning of super concentrated daily self-talk. And it absolutely changed my life. And so whether you're religious or not, it has a little religious connotation, you know, because it is about God talking to you. I'm not super religious, but it doesn't hurt to believe that some universal power, God, is speaking to me, is giving me these messages. And if you repeat them, it really doesn't matter who gave them to you, where you learned them from. It is just, again, this was my initial introduction into daily repeating positive affirmations and thoughts about myself. So it's a really beautiful book. It really, I will give you a spoiler alert, that it really comes down to when you were born, God whispered in your ear, you are the greatest miracle in the world. And you are. It doesn't mean that I'm not too, but you are. And it really is just about reaffirming that and believing it. So I want to take you back a little bit in time. Now, of course, way long ago, it's been documented in some book that some guy said, ask and you shall receive. Well, that has been around forever, and it's true. So what you're asking for in your head, you will receive, whether it's positive or it's negative. So we'll take you back a little less in time and talk about the forefathers of this belief that what you think about, you bring about, and what you're talking about in your head is what you're creating. So in 1841, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote the works of Ralph Waldo Emerson, and he mentioned about he was a great transcendentalist. And he had manifestos such as spiritual laws, compensation, self-reliance, and the oversoul. But really what he did is he posited that all things begin in thought. It's, you know, I mean, it's been around forever. So even if you just don't want to believe me, I'm giving you a few more examples. If you don't want to believe me, believe Ralph. How about James? So James Allen wrote a book in 1903 called As a Man Thinketh. Okay, so right there in the title, you know what it's going to be about, right? It's a brilliant meditation he's an English moralist and early animal rights activist, gave the mind power movement. So now we're starting to talk about mind power, its key scriptural maxim. And this one framed mind power principles in a practical, ethical manner. Allen eschewed sensationalism and universalized the philosophy of mental manifestation. We're manifesting because we're thinking about it, as one available to everyone, regardless of religious backgrounds or beliefs. So at this time, a lot of people were thinking it was just a spiritual thing. Ask and you shall receive. If you ask it, God will bring it to you. But we're starting to move into where now it's not just about some spiritual entity that's going to deliver it to you. Now these writers are beginning to believe, and these forward-thinking change makers of their time and our time, because these are still around, are now saying it's not that if you think about it, some spiritual entity is going to bring it to you. If you think about it, it is going to create energy, and you're going to make it happen. You have the power. So in 1910, Wallace Wattles' Science of Getting Rich. Okay, well, now people want to talk about the science of it. And so he was in the New Thought movement. So he combines the New Thought movement's money-seeking aims and its long-forgotten social ideals. So again, mind power classic, and it formed a key influence on the modern day The Secret. If you haven't watched The Secret, then again, it's modern day about how what you think about, you can bring about. And this book highlights the progressive ideals of the early days of positive thinking. Again, people are starting to realize and document that if you think positively, better things happen. And again, not platitudes like, okay, I'm going to do what Stacey said and I feel happy, I feel good, I'm rich. It doesn't work like that. It's an energy. So what you want to think about is get in that space where it's really quiet and really think about, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to be in love. And this is what it feels like to be rich. If you're in that space and you're in that feeling every day, every morning, I promise you, it works. It works. And it's just millions and millions and millions of people are doing it. The key is you can't just do it for 6 days. And that's what people do. They're like, well, I did it for 6 days and I don't feel any better. Okay, it might take 6 months. It might take 6 years, but you're going to be 6 years from now anyway. Would you rather be there and miserable, or would you rather be there and manifesting everything that you want? Be intentional. I'm going to keep repeating. These little webinars are about being intentional, that in 10 months and 10 years, you're not going to wake up and say, how did I get here? You're going to wake up and say, I know exactly how I got here because I planned it out and I made it happen. Next book, of course, super popular. If you haven't heard of this, I would be very surprised. But in 1936, Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. But again, it talks about how to accomplish things inside of work and with other people by being agreeable. And by being an agreeable person, not agreeable with everybody around you, but by being an agreeable person. So an agreeable person at that time is about being positive and people wanting to be around you and being attractive to other people. You know, and How to Win Friends and Influence People, it's really about taking an interest in them too and asking questions. And it's not just about you. And so again, it's how to positively impact yourself and the people around you with positive thoughts. In 1937, very popular. If you haven't heard of this, I highly recommend that you add this to your reading list by the end of the year. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Very, 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 very well documented. And any leader who is in the positive psychology and positive thought field is going to cite Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. They just are, because everybody's read it and everybody believes in it. Hill posited that the existence of a mastermind, your brain, a kind of analog to Ralph Waldo Emerson's Oversoul that could be used for persuasion and personal power. And of course, I don't need to say this to you, but persuasion and personal power for good. Honestly, you could use this for evil, but you better not be watching me if you're going to try to use this for evil, because that's not what we're about in this community. But it's all about persuasion and personal power that is in the best interest of everybody around you. It is win-win. I win and you win. Hill also argued the selection of a definite chief aim in life. So now we're starting to talk about that visualization. So it's the positive thoughts about right now where you're at, but it's also about creating that vision and that visualization for what you want to do in the future and visualizing it like it's already happened. And then in 1952, now we're really talking about it. It's just out there, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So he turned the word positive thinking into a household term. Yay! So it's been around forever. And it's so important that, again, you're not just listening to me, that it's been around forever. The most successful people that we follow, Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, and a million others, they all are going to refer back to this positive thinking. Even the modern day, Marie Forleo, Brendan Bouchard, all of those people are going to refer back to this positive thinking way of thinking, positive thinking. That was a really, really great sentence. His innovation was to recast positive thinking philosophy, which was once rooted in mystical subcultures and magical sounding terminology, into language that proved acceptable to most church-going Americans. Again, it's not just mystical. Filled with enduring and surprisingly potent ideas, Peale's book turbo boosted the fields of self-help, religious counseling, therapeutic spirituality, as well as today's prosperity gospel. So like I said, all those people that you see who are not only successful, remember, I want to be really clear, this is not about just becoming rich. This is becoming, and Think and Grow Rich is a great, catchy, he had good marketing, but in the end, it is about being rich in life and abundance. So it's not just about being so rich that you have a yacht and millions and billions of dollars and you're unhappy. It is about having positive thinking, and you can be wealthy and have abundance in a lot of different ways as you will define it, but it is about being happy despite whether you have billions of dollars in the bank and if you have them. Okay, does that make sense? Hopefully. In 1960, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz reframed positive thinking as a process. Now it's beginning to really take root in psychological reconditioning rather than summoning metaphysical agencies. So again, now we're starting to talk about neural pathways, but back then they didn't really have the ability to do the research that we're doing now. It's just unbelievable how exponentially we've grown to be able to see the mind and see the brain and see how it fires. So these guys were so way ahead of their time without even being able to see it, talking about psychological reconditioning. And he laid the foundation for the modern day field of motivation and cognitive reconditioning. Now there's a modern day book, which I really thought was cute, One Simple Idea, How Positive Thinking Reshaped Modern Life. And it talks about the history of how positive thinking started. And this book is actually what instigated me to go back and look at it all. But what I liked is he said, if my thoughts didn't change reality, they certainly helped me navigate it. So most of our modern ideas of positive thinking come from an American spiritual movement in the 1930s called New Thought, metaphysical beliefs, which promulgated the principle that thoughts are causative. Then we had the new religion of healthy mindedness by William James, and then we moved into positive thinking. So just a little summary of all that. Sometimes called the mind power movement, forms the foundational idea behind business motivation, mind-body medicine, placebo studies, remember it's what you think about, and almost all varieties of self-help. It is the most influential psycho-spiritual idea of our and perhaps any time. So you are your thoughts. Is that true or false? Pretty sure. Right now you better answer true. Your thoughts come and they go, and ultimately you have a choice about whether to act on them or not. So even if, because we are human, we're going to have negative thoughts, the thing is, don't act on them. Don't let them spin. So many times we get into something like, my mom hurt her neck, and then all of a sudden she was like, I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. I shouldn't have been using the weights that way. And I was like, Mom, I am your daughter. You are not allowed to say those things to me. You know that now that's not helping your healing. And it doesn't mean that you were dumb or you were an idiot. You need to start saying, I've learned something from the way I was using those weights. And now I am healing. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am enough. So don't let your negative thoughts or your beliefs about what you did that was stupid help make you spiral down. And then, of course, I love to remind you that this is the 25th of these webinars. I have a whole bunch, I have 24 others, of half an hour webinars on these little factoids that are so good. And number 3 is about mind chatter and mindset and how to change the mind chatter. So if you go to happierbytheminute.com, you will see a link to subscribe for free. I don't make any money. I'm not trying to make any money. I'm just giving it all away for free because I love doing this and it's good for me. Is subscribe to the Happy Huddle, and then you will immediately have access to all of the other webinars. And please, they're so good, if I do say so myself. I just really, I mean, they're working for me. They work for a lot of people. Take advantage of all of this. Take advantage. I did a talk. Actually, I did a talk for 500 people last weekend, and it was so amazing. Super proud of myself. But the thing is I introduced myself not as a speaker, but I'm a regurgitator. I really love to take all of this amazing information that I know works and turn it into micro learning. So these aren't just me ranting about my, kids or what I did today or taking pictures of my food. It is really information and tools that you can use. So watch them, see if you can pick up tips. Okay, let's just see. Oh, okay, I'm going to replay. Those of you who've been on every time are going to get this again, but it is so powerful about the words we use and how we start our day. And I love it, and I'm going to keep replaying it because it's so good.
Instead of going around down on yourself, feeling unattractive, too tall, too short, not enough of this, too much of that, no, dare to get up in the morning and say, I am a masterpiece. When you start your day, you must own your morning. When you wake up in the morning, say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. I live my life. One of the reasons why I am today. Life doesn't really happen to you. Life really happens for you. My question today is, what kind of I ams are coming out of your mouth? I am victorious. I am blessed. I am talented. I am anointed. Some of you, if you would just change the I am, you would go to a new level. I am strong. I am confident. I am equipped. I am more than a conqueror. I am well able. Make sure you have the right I ams coming out of your mouth. Say thank you in advance for what is already yours. True desire in the heart, that itch that you have, whatever it is you want to do, that thing that you want to do to help others in the way. That desire, that itch, that will for you. Sit beforehand already. Anything you want, good, you can have. It doesn't include these I ams. Read over them all through the day. most of my days in my life, just like that. A perfect day for you. Don't be in your life. Have that ideal day. Don't wait for next year or next week to have that type of day. We can choose to wake up every single day and live that day that I'm realistically for ourselves. Have that type of life. I call it the charged life, and everybody can have it. My encouragement is never say negative things about yourself. Most of us never go up to another person, at least in their face, that's not there. Yet we have no problem criticizing ourselves. I am so slow. I am so unattractive. I am so undisciplined. That is cursing your future. Do yourself a favor and zip that out. We have enough in life against us already. Don't be against yourself. So be a person of good, positive thinking. Be a person of good, positive action. And suddenly one day you'll wake up and you're like, I just feel amazing. I feel extraordinary. I feel positive. That's what it feels like. Charged. You're still here. You get another chance. This day. Do better. Be better. Another chance to become more of who you were created. What you were created to fulfill. First thing I do, I wake up, is number one, is I smile. If you'll stay in faith and just go out each day, be your best with a smile on your face, happy where you are, then you are passing the test. And I believe that how you start the day, how you end the day. And when you start the day in a powerful, empowering way, it's going to totally transform everything that you do and experience throughout your day and throughout your life. And at the same time, you start off the day the wrong way. Start off the day what most people do, which is pissed off and angry and stressed out and worried and have all these emotions that fill their body. As a result, it's going to affect everything they do that day. It's going to affect their experience at their job. It's going to affect their relationships that they have with people in their life. Because when you're in a bad state, you're going to treat people totally differently as opposed to being in a great state. It's going to affect your customers. It's going to affect your health, your body. But more importantly than that, it affects your quality of life. When you smile, for me, it represents gratitude. It represents that, God, I'm alive. I celebrate the fact that I'm alive. What a concept to celebrate the fact that you have another day of your life, which is the greatest gift you could ask for. Another day to create whatever it is that you want. Another day to pursue your goals, your dreams. Another day to experience life to the fullest and to experience all the gifts and joys that life has to offer.
Do you not feel like you could go conquer the world right now? That is so powerful. You can, you can go back and you can watch this. I'm actually going to put this on and then pause it because I just
instead
want
of
you to
going
see
around down on yourself, feeling unattractive, too tall,
So be inspired.
too short, not enough of this, too much of that. No dare to get up in the morning and say,
maybe they didn't put it on there, but you can go to YouTube and go to Be Inspired. And this, I use this all the time. I need to tell them because it is so great. It's so powerful. I feel like I could take on the world right now. So remember, I am. Know what your I ams are. Write them out. Do it 10 times every day. I am beautiful. I am strong. I am enough. Do it in the mirror. It sounds so silly, but it is what these people do. It is what I do. It is what you will do if you want to charge your life up and make a difference and have whatever it is that you want to have. Okay, I can't go through all of these, But this is from the Happy Huddle number 21. So again, you can go back, you can pause, you can watch them, you can print them. Here are a whole bunch of affirmations that are so powerful. I'm surrounded by abundance. I can achieve greatness. I love greatness. I love myself. I radiate confidence. I am worthy of happiness and love. And by the way, thanks to Sean for your note. I love it. I'm so glad you're using these. And I'm so glad that you're appreciating it and that it's making a difference. What you think of yourself is much more important than what people think of you. Okay? Stop worrying about what everybody else is thinking of you. Keep worrying about what you think of yourself. And then they are going to think of you as you think of yourself. And the people that don't think of you as you think of yourself and think positively are none of your business. What other people think of you is none of your business. What do you want to believe about yourself and manifest into reality? I am.
Because I'm happy, I'm alone. If you feel like a
I love you all. Thank you so much for joining me and giving me this half an hour. Ending right on time. I love it. I will see you next week at the same time so that we can learn and practice. Next week, we're going to do willpower doesn't work. And we're going to learn what you can do instead. Thanks so much. Go out and have an awesome day. And remember to listen and change and make your I ams positive. Thank you so much. We will see you next week. Bye.